What is going on? Monday Night Raw. It's Monday Night Raw. So you got C2 Wrestling hitting you with another review. First, you got to subscribe. Stay tuned in. It's C2 Wrestling. I mean, come on. We've been doing this week in, week out. We got some pretty big PLEs coming up. So it's time to stay tuned in. Subscribe, all that, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into Monday Night Raw. Pretty decent show tonight. It was good. Like Raw was good tonight. There's a lot of things I liked. There's not really anything I hated. I didn't really dislike much tonight. Some things that, I'd of course tweak something every show. I'd change something every show. But this was a fine Raw, I thought. There's a bit to get into. I mean, this one is probably best to also just start from the beginning like we've been trying to do the last couple times and working our way through. I'm sure we'll jump around the show unless there's anything you want to start with.
Start with the beginning.
Let's start with the beginning. And we're kind of texting a little bit throughout it. I was kind of cleaning up during this first half hour, so I was a little in and out. But we love tag team wrestling, man. It could be the beginning, the middle, or the end. I want it on the show. So this might not be the match for everybody for some reason. I get it. Maybe there's this little stigma around the vision and whatnot right now, but opening the show with tag team wrestling is great.
Not just that. 8:04, this match, the entrances started.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yep.
Pleasantly surprised, which that should, I'm not saying you got to have every night start this way, but in the land of they love to start every show, you get the recap from Saturday night's main event, of course, expected. You expect Rollins' music to hit, or Fatu, or hell, Judgment Day with how much they were showcased. You just muted yourself just so you know. You name it. But 8:04 entrances hit for the tag match. I was already excited. Now I'm even more excited. I love tag team wrestling. I love the fact that the tag team champions have been on consistently. I love the fact that the tag team champions are feuding with an actual team in an actual story and then have some physical beef with some other teams. Javon Evans teams up with Dragon Lee. This is a fun match. This is what we should get on Raw. Not every single week has to be the most dramatic, drastic storyline altering thing. And not every single week has to be just the biggest squash match. Oh, this is nothing. This past Friday, we had War Raiders and Fraxium go for 12 to 15 minutes in a very fun tag match back and forth. Tonight, very fun tag match back and forth. Both teams with offense, both teams looking promising. This is how you establish the tag team division. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're nowhere near the finish line, but we're getting there with these tag team divisions.
We absolutely are. And, this might be the first segment of the show, but I'm already going to use it to kind of bounce around a little bit because I do want to bring up another tag team at this point in Ethan Page and Rusev. Now, there's a match later on of Ethan Page and Rusev taking on Gable and Penta, and that's obviously more IC title bound. But at a point, I would like to see it. I hope we're going to see, and I think we're going to see Rusev and Ethan Page kind of maybe more so fall into a little tag team run. Let's maybe get a short stint there. Why not? It does add some more depth to the division. But one way or another, as you kind of said, the tag team titles are prominent right now. And you kind of brought that point up a little bit. I was going to get on that how long ago? 2-3 months ago, and then a year prior, we were begging for the tag titles, especially the Raw tag titles, to just be on TV. And now they're opening the show. They're in a prominent feud. They're on prominent guys. Not that they weren't ever on prominent guys or teams or anything, but still, you get my point. It's a focal point of the show. One of your greater points, I'm baffled the show didn't start with Fatu's music or Jay or whoever. That is just so standard. And that goes for every show. I always expect Cody on SmackDown or something, but it was just different. It's fun. I do hope it continues past SummerSlam. I don't know if Tozawa and Otis feuding with the Vision is going to last forever. Maybe it goes a little bit longer past SummerSlam, but after that, what's next? And, maybe we're forward thinking, but I want to keep the ball rolling here. A lot of these times they might get it rolling a little bit, but then it just stops. So we'll see where they go.
Excuse me. Yeah, they announced next week Alpha Academy will take on the Vision. I don't believe they announced it as a tag title match. They did, just to pair it, they announced Sol Ruka versus Raquel right after, and it looked like that was for the IC title because the graphic in the bottom corner said Intercontinental Championship. I did not see it, I believe, for the tag titles. I could be wrong, but I would assume we get some sort of false finish there or a DQ or something like that, and it's going to become official for SummerSlam. These tag titles on the show. I feel pretty good about these tag titles actually getting on the show. I feel pretty good about the direction of the tag team division. Um, right after this, though, there was something that still might be altering what we originally thought. Right after this match, we get another video package for Big Cass for August 3rd. This one better than last week's. This one, this is kind of tough to believe if he is not being solo with the way this package was. It was about all of his hardships, his injuries, his issues with substance abuse, alcohol. Hopefully, that is all in the past. We wish him obviously the best. But this was a video package of a guy who's going to be a singles wrestler. This was a video package of you're building that sort of connection to the audience for a guy that really didn't have it before outside of just being known for the catchphrases and the goofs and the gaffs. I'd be kind of shocked right now if Enzo teamed with Big Cass after the way that video package was.
I'll start by saying I loved the video package. I thought it was great.
It
I did.
was.
I thought they really did sell it well for Big Cass there, and they set him up to really have like a different edge to him, it's a different gimmick. It really is. Absolutely was sold as a single star. No Enzo yet. I'm still not like saying it's out, but no Enzo yet. I have pitched before, and I'll pitch it again. It might not happen immediately, but maybe there is a world where like Enzo as his manager works, like Enzo as the mouthpiece. Maybe it's not a tag team. It is Cass as a singles guy, but Enzo still ends up coming around. I want to ask this before I get into any more of it. Is he heel?
I don't know
Is he
because
heel?
because on paper you think this guy's going to be a heel. He's a big bad type guy. But that video package,
It kind of goes both ways for me, the video package.
I was just about to say that. The video
It's
package,
babyface things in a heel way.
yes.
You know?
Yes, it's like, oh, they're building the connection. They're getting that sympathy for him, but at the same time the way it's shot, the way they do it, it's almost like he's coming back with like a grudge against everyone and whatnot because of it.
It's almost not a story of like perseverance, but it's a story of like he's disgruntled, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, like that's the story
Yeah.
they're telling. I don't know how to put it, but one way or another, I really do like, last week I was already pretty like I'm sold on Big Cass. Let's get him in the mid-card division. Let's do something. Like I'm cool with that return. Also under the idea that it's a tag team. I'm more in line with that last week, but they did a good job right here to sell me on it in only one more week. I'm loving it right now. I want him back. I want Enzo back. I don't know if I need them teaming now necessarily. Like that was good. We'll see more though. We haven't even gotten him on TV yet, but I'm about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to completely 180 off of my thoughts last week. I'm still very much like I'll let this play out. As I said, I'm still not like dying for it,
Mhm.
but they did a great job tonight with that video package to at least, get me a little bit more interested and invested in him.
Yeah, I mean, the resemblance is there. We've probably all said this in the past, but I get like test vibes out of this kind of. I don't
Yeah.
know. You don't know. Like maybe that's just because the resemblance is there. But I like to see it. Him with a different edge. I don't know what he comes back and gets into immediately. I'm trying to think. Post SummerSlam, who does he go after first? If he's a heel, like a short Javon Evans kind of stint, like lines up. If he's a babyface, I truly got no idea.
If he's a heel, Maybe he takes out Chad Gable as soon as he's, IC champion,
Yeah.
takes it right off him or something. Like,
Yeah, or at least, gets that first like shot at it or something. Gable gets the win still, but then Cass goes on to something.
Gable's just such a baby face right now. Like, if you want to
Yeah,
establish him as a heel, he takes out one of these like, real legit
big
baby
baby
faces.
faces. Yeah. I was gonna say with Enzo coming back or potentially still coming back, there is absolutely a world where again, I'm 100% sold on this and only these two vignettes, but he returns, it's some gimmick change and it doesn't work. So you call back the hits and Enzo rolls in, and it
Yeah.
is soft all over again. But
Oh, that's and that finger's not on the trigger, but like
mhm. Guns loaded.
it's doing the workouts. It's
Yep.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah. We've been
know
practicing aiming.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
looking down
Yeah,
sights
we're
or
not we're
something.
not gonna pull the trigger right
Yeah.
away, but
Yeah.
we keep it in the back of our mind. Uh this show, very Judgment Day and Danhausen heavy.
Mhm.
Very Judgment Day and Danhausen heavy. So much so that fast forward later in the show, we actually get Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio made official for SummerSlam. So we already know the whole goof and gaff of Danhausen took Judgment Day's money. They want the money back, blah, blah, blah. Like the most comedic of comedic storylines, whatever. It's fun. FDK, photo kids. Uh, but Joe Hendry gets involved. He got screwed last week. I really was starting to buy in that we were going to get Joe Hendry and Danhausen versus
JD and
Dom
Dom.
and JD. You get Joe Hendry on the pay per view. Dom with obviously his stature is going to be on SummerSlam. JD, he's on, definitely a more prominent rise in recent. But right now it's just one on one, which I thought was a bit interesting. Next week we have a concert with Joe Hendry and Danhausen. I don't know, maybe just Joe Hendry's in his corner to even the odds, but I don't know how much a Dom Danhausen one-on-one match at SummerSlam like really does it for me right off the back of getting Danhausen versus JD one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I would like it more without the Saturday night's main event match. But it does like fill out the show. We were not long ago saying there's a lot of empty matches left for a 2 night card going into this SummerSlam. And, this, I guess, fills out some depth. You're going to get Dom on. You're probably likely to get Danhausen on. Maybe not in a match, but you're getting him on to some degree. So here's where they're doing that. What other, like, stuff can they pull? I don't know. Like, I'm sure we'll get something goofy, funny, maybe. Like, I probably will have fun with this match, yes. But at what point is like the mini housing gimmick just becoming overdone and all the little things like I look at Saturday night's main event, which is obviously not to the stature of SummerSlam, and I do look at this now too, SummerSlam. I love both these guys. Dirty Dom is future world champion. Like Danhausen's been great. JD, obviously we love JD, but like these could have been different matches. Like who is not making the cut? What could have made the cut in place of this? What could we have put on? I don't know. There is probably things you could have put together that I would have preferred over top of this, but again, I still think we'll have fun with it. It is, as you said, FTK, photo kids.
Yeah, it's 100% for the kids. And we love Danhausen, obviously. It's just like, what new can they do?
Mm-hmm.
And it actually kind of brings me to this. You have Danhausen cost Dom in this match against Joe Hendry and all this stuff. I kind of feel like this is the perfect spot for Danhausen to actually lose and get
Yeah,
Dom a win at SummerSlam. Like, I'm not saying Danhausen, like, oh my God, he's a step away from being a champion. He needs to lose. But I'm saying, like, we could very well, like, kind of stumble our way into Danhausen being like 15-0 and then being like, oh, well, we kind of have to put him in some sort of title match. The guy's never lost. This is like a safe spot to have him lose. Dom cheat like with a roll up while JD and Hendry are
I
fighting or
got it.
something. What do you got?
I got you got the gimmick, Danhausen, obviously, whatever. Is this no DQ? I don't know. Whatever. We'll get there. But like in some way, I could easily see there being a world where like in the match, even though a lot of these people are already cursed and all that, Danhausen's like going to curse Dom or something, and like he's looking this way and he comes back and like Dom spins around a mirror and Danhausen curses himself and runs with the gimmick and gets rolled up or some silly shit. Again, it's within that realm of silly shit is probably going to go down for this match. Danhausen very well goes like 50-0 though. Honestly,
Yeah.
I like that is also I feel like almost part of the gimmick is he doesn't have to win a title. He probably will at some point win tag titles, get a mid card title run. I really wouldn't be surprised, but he could be in that it's a level above like I don't know some of these goofy gimmicks we've gotten in the past in a lot of ways. Like it really is over right now. But that's the fun of it, kind of him winning 50 something matches, not losing, and it's all in this manners that he does, all the cursing and the mini housings and all that. But at a point it will get tiresome. I think I'm over like the mini housing thing. Like you just ran it again at Saturday's main event. Like if they just do that again at SummerSlam, what's it all for?
Yeah, exactly. It's also like a great spot for Dom to just get booed out of the building because he just beat Stanhouse and everyone expects Stanhausen to win.
Yeah.
That'd be a little bit fun. JD ended up taking on Oba Femi because of a backstage moment of him tossing the bag with fake money, and it goes right into Oba. That match, I mean, you blink and it's over, as it should be. Love JD, absolutely love him, but right now Oba step away from Brock makes sense. Match goes quick, whatever. We get a promo that genuinely this could have opened the show if it were any other Raw. Like this was the welcome to our show. We're laying out the story for the whole night, which is normally how their opening segments go. But instead, it's just the tag segment and it's the match, and that story is just over in the show. We get a different segment where Solo Sikoa comes out, calls out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins asks him, "Are you calling me out to fight? Calling me out to talk?" Solo says, "I'm calling you out to talk." And Solo is just adamant about Seth needs his help. And he even says, like, I can do for you what you did for Cody at WrestleMania 40. Like, I can be that guy. Like, he's so adamant about it. Fatu ends up coming out, chases off Solo, gets a super kick from Seth. And that's the end of the segment. Later on backstage, Seth and Fatu come face to face. Fatu tells Seth, when Roman's done with you, if there's anything left of you, I'm taking you out. Seth mentions that obviously Fatu clearly has been told by Roman that he cannot lay a hand on him before SummerSlam. There's like two major talking points I got from these two segments. I look at it Solo Rollins and I look at it Fatu Rollins. I'll focus on Solo Rollins first. We've been pretty like leaning towards this is probably just leading to Solo joining the bloodline again, which I just don't need, and I would love Solo on his own. But this segment was probably the most I felt, oh yeah, Solo's just going to turn and help Roman. Or like maybe he doesn't help Roman here, but he turns on Seth shortly after and rejoins the family. That like absolute insisting of it, him needing to help Rollins and Rollins needing his help. Rollins is just going to end up declining it, and then Solo just ends up turning on him. Or Rollins accepts it, and Solo does the, like, why would you trust a snake? Don't bring a snake back to life. This is the most I felt, yeah, we are very close to the Solo return.
Yeah, we're getting there. It does seem a bit like inevitable at this point, but I'm hopeful still a little bit that it's like a swerve on a swerve. Like they want us to think Solo's going back, reverse psychology type thing. But I'm not going to be shocked when it happens. Don't want it to happen. I don't think it really does anything for anybody. Does it really even add much more like depth or flair or anything to the bloodline right now? No, not really. It kind of is a little bit better, it being a little different with Fatu in the realm and not Solo, but When it comes to Fatu Rollins, I'm a bit intrigued there. I don't know if this week though, like this one backstage segment between those two, did it spoil like all of SummerSlam regarding Rollins and Roman and maybe moving forward? Is it gonna end with like Rollins about to pick up the win? Like maybe the Usos and Fatu and everybody have gotten involved already, but like Rollins is about to steal the deal again, and Fatu is the one to not only cost Rollins, but like really like makes him bloodline official because he really saved Roman there, you know? And then the feud after SummerSlam is Rollins Fatu. That's how you keep Fatu relevant. Rollins goes into a non-title feud, but still versus a high tier level up and coming superstar, really. Is that the route?
I actually think Roman's just going to beat Rollins. I don't think the
Yeah.
Bloodline's going to get involved.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised. And I do see an angle in what I just pitched too, where like maybe Fatu does get involved and Roman probably still wins, but isn't quite happy that Fatu got involved.
Yeah, my gut really is telling me that they're going to keep having Roman win these matches by himself. And then like this is kind of the negative gut feeling. Uh Roman's going to take on Oba and then the bloodline's going to get involved and it's going to be, oh, he's beating all these guys, but he needed all this help to beat Oba. And then they
Mm.
end up rematching at Mania or something after Oba wins the Rumble or some nonsense, something like that. But to me, like they're just pushing so hard that Roman is adamant about beating these people on his own, not having any help from any bloodline members. That to me, like it's setting up for him to be as big and strong as possible. So when Oba does beat him, that's what we're remembering. The fact that this is the Roman that has had no help throughout this entire run and has been beating all of these guys, but he couldn't beat Oba. So I think it's going to be just Reigns beats Rollins.
I mean I could definitely see it, and you know, to that point in a way, I'm not like out on Rollins. I do think there's a percentage chance there that Rollins wins. I think it's fairly low, but you know, it's not 0%. Uh but as that like percentage goes down for Rollins, the Oba percentage goes up. Oba is the only guy that's gonna take this belt off of Roman. I can't really see it being anybody else at this point. If you forced me to pick another, I would almost have to be Gunther, even though he's already swapped to SmackDown and whatnot. Like I'm just trying to think of people in the realm of Roman and his. The Rock is honestly weirdly up there too. That's a whole other story, but they really are just like all long term building to Oba. That's what all this is on many fronts. Oba and Brock on that front, this is to build Oba. Roman, his title run is to build Oba in the long run, as long as they do pull the trigger. But I'm fairly confident they will here, and Oba is our next world champion. Maybe not in the next month. Maybe it is come Mania. We'll see how far they postpone it. But the Oba run is coming. It's happening.
It is. And not to go on to a whole other topic because we still have other parts to get into. But this Raw also kind of really had me buying into Roman Rollins should go night one main event. And I think I'm bought into Cody Punk being night two just because I just feel like there's such little chance of Roman losing to Rollins. And like, I think Punk's going to beat Cody, but if Cody won, like, I would not be shocked. And maybe we get a heel turn in the match or something. I think Roman Rollins might just end up being kind of, I don't want to call it cut and dry because the match is going to be fantastic, but the result kind of cut and dry.
I can see it. Yes. I think it depends. It depends on the finish of each match. Like, you know, we're not behind the scenes. I guess we're not calling the shots, but like, whichever match is going to have the more like, I mean, both of them might be pretty cut and dry, if I'm being honest, but whichever match is going to have the bit more of the like wow factor to it with the ending result should just take the night two slot. This is pretty interchangeable in a way where a lot of these two night events that we've had over the last few years, it's been pretty like clear this is your night one versus your night two main event. Night two always obviously holds a little bit more stature. It's almost the real main event. But it's hard to deny Roman. Punk, it's hard to deny Cody. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Roman Rollins, though, if you're gonna put it on night one, the fucking Hell in a Cell should just main event, and that one is just open the show. Honestly,
Not a bad argument. We keep it moving. Rusev and Ethan Page teamed with Chad Gable and Penta. Fine match. Gable picks up the win with the ankle lock. There's one major thing I noticed. It was during Gable's entrance. I'm wondering if you noticed, because it would be something that you would notice and text me about. And I specifically did not text you about it.
Hmm. I did not notice it. Did not see the entrance. I was probably on my phone.
Okay. Chad Gable came out and he was wearing a fire t shirt.
Oh, I didn't see it really. Oh,
It was black and white picture of him bloody from being OG El Grande. But you already know what I'm going to say next.
what's that?
The back.
Oh, well, I didn't see it, but yeah. I mean, do I
The back
wanna?
of the shirt.
Uh,
Okay, it's not the worst thing, but it's bad.
I gotta find it. I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's the entire,
Is it
like,
WWE official? Like, you think this is on the shop right now?
yes, I think it
Yeah.
is. It is like his entire speech from after. And it is just a long rectangle of text, just white text, just straight down. And it's just, I saw that shirt. I saw the front and I'm like, oh my God, I might order this right now. And then he got further in his entrance and I saw the back and I said, oh my God, I'm not even going to open WWE shop to see if that's available. Why do they do this every time with their shirts?
Well,
I
I'll tell
need
you,
you to, have you seen it?
it is available and it's $34.99. Um, at first glance, it looks like a fucking Mad Lib on the back or something.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's so
like,
long.
oh my God, why? Nobody
The
is
front's cool
reading
though,
that.
right?
The front is great. The front is fantastic. Yes, absolutely. I would definitely buy that shirt if it was just the front. Um, if I wanted to buy that shirt for the back, I'll just go to a fucking bookstore. Like, what is
I just got the hiccups.
why? Like, I don't get it. That could be not even wrestling related. If I saw a shirt like that in public, I would look over, I'd go, what does that say? I don't give a fuck. Like that's too much. But we're gonna get into a whole tangent about
Yeah.
their merch. That is a very fire one though. Maybe we get lucky and they release a different version of it one day. But one way or another, Chad Gable, Penta team up. Obviously, we're just kind of getting to the IC title match for Gable and Penta. I do like that Rusev and Ethan Page are still kind of like
Yeah,
around,
hiccups now.
involved. That's fun. Always, it's always something like haven't had the hiccups all day. 20 minutes, we're about to do a thing, and you get the hiccups. um, but I kind of mentioned earlier, I would like to see Ethan Page and Rusev not like fall out, but maybe they can get a little tag team run going and get in the tag team division. Who else do you get involved in the mid card division? I mean, maybe that is where like a big Cass fits in. He takes a role for a minute. It could be a heel, like we were talking about. And there's some other names, Javon Evans and Dragon Lee, baby faces, sure, but like let's pull them up again a little bit. Just maybe refresh it a little bit post SummerSlam. I am never going to be mad at like Ethan Page for Gable or anything like that, but it might hit a point post SummerSlam where like, all right, we just kind of did this. So again, let's move Penta onto bigger and better things. Give Gable an all-time IC title run. Have him just put on bangers each week. I'm ready for it. I'm just here for it. I know we got a little bit till SummerSlam still, but like, I don't think there's anything they could do in this feud to really like make it worse or upset me. But I'm just ready. I don't know if there's anything else they could really do to like level it up either.
Yeah, honestly, next week, just give them both video packages. Like they just like it's the final Raw. What can they really say in a promo?
Yeah,
What
I
can
was
they
gonna
really?
say you could do like an in-ring promo of the two of them where it's like obviously super baby faces both sides, but like Gable's got to read the back of his t-shirt, pretty much,
Yeah,
like
then
just give
half the
him
show's
that, like
over.
half the show exactly. Yeah, yeah. You mean Raw and SmackDown?
Yeah,
Yeah, have him, give him that super baby face defy all odds promo. Penta, you know, kind of the same thing, but it's a couple zero medals, no fear, new era type shit, whatever. But one way or another, this I think we've probably said this. If not, I'd be surprised, but very well it's match of the weekend come SummerSlam.
yeah. I mean, it's probably what I would bet. I mean, Rollins Roman is crazy. Punk
I know
Cody
it's
is
so tough.
crazy,
Yeah, it
but
is
this
crazy.
is hopefully this gets the time. You know, like a match like Dom versus Danhausen, like I don't need that to be 15 minutes long. I need this Penta Chad Gable
20
match.
minutes at least.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say 15 at the minimum. Like
Yeah.
I understand it's probably gonna be a 7 match card. Not every match is gonna be super long, but 15 at the minimum for this match, please. Um, we already talked pretty much about Dom and Danhausen and Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry picks up the win against Dom with the help of Io Sky and Danhausen. But we'll move on to the main event because we've already talked long enough. We got a long gap between the end of that Joe Hendry match and the actual start of the main event. A lot of promos, a lot of ads, but we get an LA Knight promo. There was one very, very interesting part of it where almost like he slightly pulled back the curtain, where he looks in the camera and he mentions that Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam makes him sick. And he just takes like world's longest pause as he stares into the camera. And your point has been received. This is starting to feel like LA might be next for Roman. I think it might be LA versus Roman um, in a short little feud where LA once again will lose to the bloodline. He is just stuck in that bloodline vortex. But LA faces Jacob. I've got thoughts about this match and what occurred, but did you buy into that LA promo and his talk of like, not that he, I mean, obviously he's going to be salty. He's not the main event. They should all be salty if they're not the main event. You should want to be, kind of at the top, but this really felt like there was some sour grapes in it.
Yeah. I mean, it did. Um, Maybe it's LA just being real fucking good at what he does. I don't know. But, could have been for sure. I mean, LA does deserve better. I think we all can agree to that at this point. Um, I it, Man, I want to say like I've been calling for it for so long now, and I want to say we really are like inching towards the heel turn. And maybe LA Knight is one of those guys that fits in the category of like heels and faces don't exist, but like he can kind of go both ways. But I really would like to think we're getting towards like a I'm done fucking around version of LA. Like it's my time is now, literally. Like I'm done waiting, I'm taking. And does it happen like post SummerSlam, or does it happen, post Roman feud where LA like again can't win the big one, and that's the holdover for a little bit for Roman? Does LA have any chance of taking the title off Roman? I almost don't even want it because I only want it when LA is going to do it at this point. I can't take another like LA title match loss. Weirdly, he's still like top contender for Money in the Bank, but he was last year and he was the year before and the year before that and so on and so on. So I don't know. I really am very indifferent on it. I don't know if they're ever going to pull the trigger on LA, but there's frustrations back there. There's gotta be. There has to be.
Yeah, and it's so funny because now he's so like knee deep in this bloodline stuff all the time that if he ever is going to win the championship, it almost has to be off of a Roman or a Fatu or an Uso or even a Solo, whoever is the champion at that time. Because like if he just went over to SmackDown and took the title off of Punk, it just would feel obviously it'd be great for him, but at the same time, it's like we just spent years with this story for like no payoff and the payoff to be elsewhere. It just would feel out of place if that were to be the case. But the main event is LA versus Jacob. And this was a bloodline match. We got LA and Jacob going. Then Jimmy comes out. And they keep fighting. Then Solo comes out. And they keep fighting. Then Royce Keys comes out. And they keep fighting. Then we get the return of Jey Uso. His music hits. He comes out, takes out Royce Keys. Brawl. LA takes out Jay. Then inevitably Fatu picks up the win. Usos and Fatu beat them down. They win the match. They end the show. I have no idea who the heels and baby faces are. Not a fucking clue. Like during it, like, this is quite babyface. Having Jay's music hit, it's his big return. The crowd's all yeeting. Oh man, this is the babyface. He's been gone for a few weeks. The crowd missed him. Then he's doing the post match attack, and it's as heel as can be, and the tongue and death grip, and he's doing the runs in the corner, and I'm not that I like I was very little interested in this matchup to begin with. I already said I was confused. I just leave like more and more confused from each segment. Am I supposed to be booing the bloodline? Because halfway through the match, I did not think so. This past weekend at Saturday Night's Main Event, I was not supposed to be booing Roman Reigns. I was supposed to be booing Seth Rollins. Tonight, I'm supposed to be cheering Seth Rollins and booing, Roman and Jacob. And this is getting like a little too muddy for my liking, and not in like a ooh, it's fun, they're tweeners. In like a, I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
I I do think we're supposed to be rooting against the bloodline without Roman, but like when Roman's with them, we're supposed to be kind of rooting with them. I don't know. It really is different week in, week out. But I think within this like 6-way feud they got going on, the only visible babyface in all of this is Royce Keys. And it's really only because of the way they've presented Royce Keys over the last couple months. He's the only guy in this entire group that like clear babyface. By default, LA and Solo become like the babyface guys for at least this feud. Jimmy and Jay have been doing a lot of heel shit. Fatu has been doing a bit of heel shit. Jay and Jimmy have been tweeners as well a little bit, but in the last couple of weeks, they've almost officially transferred over despite the eating and the Jey Uso return and the music and all that. I do think we're supposed to be rooting against the bloodline. I'm not rooting against or for anybody. Like this kind of just doesn't do it for me still. Like I'm really just not in it for this at SummerSlam. I like maybe this sounds crazy. Like I love Royce Keys and I love LA Knight and Solo and Usos. We say this every week, but like I think Danhausen and Dom is a little higher on like my want to see match card come SummerSlam. Like this is just the most fucking standard bloodline 6-man tag ever. Again, like cool, Solo turns or he doesn't turn. Like I don't know. Like where are we really going with this anymore? I can't imagine myself like booking this over just like the Solo, like singular, not Solo Sikoa, but like singular LA Knight versus whoever match because LA Knight is clearly over as could be. Fatu is over. Even if they've run that before, that was on tonight's show. That could have just been at SummerSlam, and I'm like more into it. I don't know. This, especially as like a Raw main event tonight, was a stinker to me. This could have been like any other segment tonight, and it's a better main event.
Yeah, this it kind of I don't want to say like killed the end of the show for me because I still like really enjoyed the show, but it was a very hot start to me, like
Mm.
for me, not like this is some crazy hot start. But by the end of it, I was like, all right, that was pretty much cut and dry as expected. Not saying there's got to be something crazy, but when you look at the 6-man tag match, I mean, we'll talk more in depth when we do our SummerSlam predictions. But God, like I just look at this combination, I'm like, who gets pinned? Like, who would I even be okay with getting pinned? Because each one, like, I make an argument they should and shouldn't, or I would want them or wouldn't want them. It just, I don't know. This is just, especially like we just got the Usos in a 6-man tag at Mania. They're just in another 6-man tag here at SummerSlam. Like this just, everything is so fresh. This does not scream fresh. If it were Fatu versus Royce Keys one-on-one, that would be fresh. I would not be sat here. Maybe they did it because they are afraid to have Royce Keys lose to Jacob Fatu, and I would counter that with he just got pinned by Jimmy Uso, and I love Big Jim. But Royce Keys can get pinned by Jacob Fatu at SummerSlam, and we're not going to look at him like he's squashed. They took each other on one. Hell, that match could even be like a street fight, like one of your stipulation matches, that it would just be so much more interesting. And then the Usos, maybe you still have the Usos versus LA and Solo, whatever. At least it's like one match I actually care about, I get out of it. Now it's just you combine the two, and I don't care about it as a whole.
Yeah, I really don't. This again was not the best way to end the show for me tonight. I granted I wouldn't have loved it in the middle of the show or the beginning. Like again, it's just fallen flat for me in comparison to a lot of the other things going on, a lot of the other builds going in the SummerSlam. Could be better. That's the zone this is in. Could be better. Could it be worse? Yeah, I guess it could be. At least Royce is a little fresh. At least Solo, we are getting a bit of a, even if it's a short-lived stint, baby face-ish side of Solo. Like there's a bit of change there, but I think it's more like honestly the Uso side of thing that right now it's not hitting for me. I'm over it, and hopefully they're not on SmackDown this week. They weren't last week. At least it's being secluded to one show over the last week or two. But leading in the SummerSlam, yeah, this is low tier. I believe that's all I really have to say about the main event. I believe that's everything we got into for Raw, right? Nothing else to really comment on, unless you have anything. But I gotta mention, not a women's match tonight.
There was not a women's match tonight. And the only like women's segments, Liv was all over the show, and we had Io come out and attack Liv during the Joe Hendry Dominic Mysterio match. No women's matches at all. But Saturday night's main event, you had Bailey Lyra. You also had the tag titles. Now the tag titles are full fledged on SmackDown. I shouldn't say full fledged, but the tag team champions are on SmackDown. You announced Soul versus Raquel next week, and really like the focus on the women is for SmackDown right now. Like that's what needs to be built up. I don't really know what they could have done. Maybe like a more of a prominent Lyra segment or a Lyra segment at all, but I don't know. Like what else could they really have done right here?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm imagining, I haven't really checked through Twitter or anything, but I'm imagining there's a lot of complaints online about the lack of the women's wrestling segments tonight. But they did just get showcased, pretty well at Saturday night's main event. And there isn't much to build off of right now. There really isn't. Like the segments that Io and Liv and Co were involved in worked. We're getting clearly women's wrestling next week. They already announced Soul versus Raquel, as you mentioned earlier. So it's only 1 week. I expected a match. Once we got to the main event, I was kind of like, oh wow, I didn't really click until then that we didn't get anything. But I was thinking it during the main event. You just kind of beat me to that point. What would it have been tonight?
Yeah. I mean, Soul's on next week, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Maxine is full fledged into this tag title story, so there's at least like something going on. But I mean, we kind of have to look at like SmackDown and Raw together
Mm-hmm.
more than just one when it comes to these big PLEs, because you think of what's going to get showcased at the big PLEs. And right now, maybe the women's IC title finds its way on. Maybe you get a false finish or interference and they run back Soul Raquel again at SummerSlam. I don't think so. I think this is just their, like, the SummerSlam go home show. This is going to be the match. But really, what else would there be to add? All the focus is now for that interim women's championship on SmackDown.
I don't even want to get into it. We'll be here all night talking about this interim championship. But one way or another, we'll talk about it this Friday. We do got SmackDown, we got Raw, we got SmackDown again, and so on until SummerSlam. We got a bit more to get into, but we're working out some plans. There's going to be some C2 content coming out come SummerSlam, so stay tuned in. Again, subscribe, follow us on all the social media. Anything else you want to add?
I want to add, do it or you're a coward.